It's been almost a year since the last time I did a YouTuber tribute on YouTubers that I've gone into, not to mention the old ones that I did while I did retro YouTuber tributes. And for me personally, over the last year, after taking a break from YouTuber tributes, all while deleting those future videos as part of Summerpalooza 4, it really sums up onto why I haven't done a YouTuber tribute as of now, knowing full well that I'm having a difficult time showing my tributes towards other YouTubers. And let me tell you, I'm not saying that this was a mistake, like I still have fun doing it, but at the same time when it comes to making minimum videos, this was definitely the least of what I enjoyed. Like, back then I did enjoy it, but at the end of 2021 and in the beginning of 2022, I was starting to get drained from doing these YouTuber tributes. Back in early 2019, I've made my first YouTuber tribute centering around one of the YouTubers that I enjoyed in the earlier years of YouTube, Adam West Lapdog. Granted, I'm aware that he doesn't look like this, but at the same time, years later, it's mostly my perspective of what I feel about this guy, especially since that around that time, he uploaded his final abridged series episode of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Now, the reason why I decided to do a YouTuber tribute on him is because I really felt like that he really made me believe that he manages to complete his Majora's Mask abridged series. And the fact that I know full well that he's not going to be able to do Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or Skyward Sword, because compared to his Ocarina of Time abridged series, it was shorter. Like, it may take a year or so to complete it, but when it comes to Majora's Mask, it took more than 10 years, mainly the fact that he was probably taking time off from the internet. So, after doing that YouTuber tribute, I decided to do several more, mainly during at My Little Pony Month, where I did YouTuber tributes on Romance Rider 1, Golden Fox, Alexatron, DR Wolf 001. I know I can't spell these names right, but I barely watched these YouTubers in such a long time. And after that, I decided to make multiple YouTuber tributes centering around other users. Believe me when I say this, I understand that it may be weird to make a YouTuber tribute off of someone, but the thing is, back then I didn't have a lot to work with. And the fact that most of the time when I have other ideas, I couldn't be able to do it because back then I didn't have my laptop until I brought it at the end of 2019. And making these YouTuber tributes felt like the only alternative for my YouTube channel to be active in some of the capacity. Like, one of the reasons why I actually enjoyed doing these YouTuber tributes, despite the fact that some of the videos were mostly old, is mainly the fact that I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed these users a lot more ever since I rewatched those videos over and over again. And while I understand that the old videos aren't really good to look at considering that they're really old, and the fact that the opinions of the users have changed, but at the same time, it was actually good for its time, and I really appreciate of how much that I actually find enjoyment from these users and actually doing YouTube tributes of them from my own perspective. Now, believe me when I say this, when it came to doing these YouTuber tributes off of people, keep in mind, I usually try to have some memory on these YouTubers and try to get every information as I can. Because believe me, I do not have all the information of all the YouTubers. I don't usually watch all the content whatsoever, because for me personally, it would be a lot more difficult to get into everything that the user is accustomed to, which actually makes sense because myself, because me, for instance, have done different things on my channel, so completely doing different ideas or material, I can understand why some people are just not accustomed to them. And I have to admit that regardless if I had a difficult time trying to find the perfect YouTuber, not really perfect YouTuber, but a few YouTubers to talk about for once in a while, mainly in months in my earlier schedules, I really need to see, I really need to dig deeper on these YouTubers to give an understanding of what I really enjoy from them and what I really enjoyed from their content years ago. And believe me, I sometimes get into these types of YouTubers once in a while, but not completely. And when it comes to November 2019, I did a lot, and I do mean a lot of YouTuber tributes. Believe me when I say this, around this time, I completely enjoyed a lot more when it comes to video games, My Little Pony, and most of the YouTubers that I actually enjoyed when it comes to the qualities. Now, when it came to 2020, things have been doing alright. Like, granted, it may be around the time the pandemic was starting and it was going to be difficult for people to get into changes, knowing full well that the pandemic was preventing people to go outside. It didn't stop me from making YouTuber tributes of people that I actually enjoyed the most. Like Forrest, even though I do not watch his content completely, I actually admire what he does by living in a van and also doing what he does best when it comes to his YouTube content. I make these types of videos in order to understand the meaning of what people actually enjoy in their life, and mainly of how they handle their life on making their YouTube channels. Granted, it may be a different story because they may contribute a lot more than what I'm doing, but at the same time, I actually admire these types of users for what they can bring to the table of how they can instantly do something entertaining, all the while being really one of the best channels I've seen in a while. I'm gonna be honest with you, when Summerpalooza 2 came around, that is where I really want YouTuber tributes to take center stage, because as far as I'm concerned, Summerpalooza 2 is literally gonna be the only month where I'm gonna do a lot of YouTuber tributes. Like I did 7 of them, I think, and judging of how I enjoyed these videos a lot more, well, technically 5, not 7. It really shows that I really wanted so much showcase off of people that I haven't even met yet, and somehow growing accustomed to. Now, believe me, once I get to the end of this topic involving YouTuber tributes from 2019 through 2022, I'm going to express on the negatives and a few videos that I ended up removing and deleting off of my playlist and YouTuber tributes in general. Now, when it came to 2021, it's honestly a mixed bag. Like, I did enjoy doing some of these YouTuber tributes, and I wanted to give some people some kind of attention, but let me tell you, it wasn't really simple to do these YouTuber tributes, mainly at the fact that it's mostly impossible to look into everything and trying to get into the enjoyment of what they do best. Granted, I can totally understand that some of the perspectives off of other people are supposed to be different and are supposed to be in a unique way, but let me tell you, you wouldn't believe me of how much stress I went through just trying to do these YouTuber tributes off of people that I'm not really into their content completely. And this is where the problem comes into play. I've really wanted to look into every single YouTuber that I've ever known, all the while getting to know their attributes a lot more. But people like a Civilized Elk, it wasn't really one of those people. And for me personally, it was a lot more difficult to get into these types of contents, especially since that these types of users aren't really that active that much. And when it came to retro YouTuber tributes, this is something I wanted to do in order to do something really interesting. You see, I know full well that these types of users will never come back because they're either busy with their lives and they pretty much moved on from doing YouTuber tributes. But at the same time, the only way to make this work is to do a rename of retro YouTuber tributes in order to take you back to the past. That, well, I enjoyed these YouTubers, but not so much once I got older. Believe me, these types of users have different types of quality back in the 2000s and early 2010s that you will probably cringe, or the fact that you will probably find the odd enjoyment from these users, either for the right or wrong reasons. Let me tell you, I really think that doing these retro YouTuber tributes was supposed to be an alternative or a way to keep YouTuber tributes going in order to continue YouTuber tributes. Because believe me, in 2021, I was reconsidering on stopping doing YouTuber tributes because it was honestly becoming a lot more ridiculous and redundant. Like in April of 2021 was the time I was about to be done with YouTuber tributes. But after thinking about it, I decided to rebirth it. Well, not really rebirth it, but revive it in order to do more YouTuber tributes. But this is where things are starting to become a lot more stressful. You see, people want me to watch other YouTubers in order to understand, in order to do a video of them, all the while getting an understanding of what they do, which results me into watching videos from them. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad idea. Like, you can instantly request me to do a YouTuber tribute back then for free, but at the same time, watching other YouTubers by request isn't something that I usually do. Like, when it comes to doing cartoons, movies, or whatnot, it was simple. Like, I can try to get into the movies and cartoons a little simply. It's a little simple. Granted, it may take time for me to get used to, but I'll try. But doing a request for a YouTuber, I really didn't have a good time doing it because, for one, I really didn't watch these YouTubers that much, and the content isn't bad, I just couldn't get into them. Like, I really tried to get into nearly the content themselves, and the sad thing is that the content I watched from them were only a few videos. I didn't watch all the videos. This is just basically the equivalent of playing a video game for only the first act or even less than that and doing a review of it. And believe me, in 2022, a lot is going to change. Believe me, a lot is going to change, and as much as I understand that I just didn't know what to do with YouTuber tributes then, I tried to keep it going, but this was officially the year, well, it's gonna be scrapped. I only did 8 YouTuber tributes, which is technically 6, which you exclude the retro YouTuber tributes. But believe me, this isn't really a good idea on doing these types of YouTube tributes because I was really getting burned out the more. And believe me when I say this, what I said about the Civilized Elk thing, it wasn't really working out for me because the drama that has been going on as of late is really becoming a lot more tedious for me, and talk about a drama channel, even though it's mostly important, I really have regrets on making these types of YouTuber tributes. And let's get into the final 2 months of YouTuber tributes. Let me tell you, this wasn't really simple to do because I was getting exhausted, and doing these videos in one shot instead of multiple takes was a lot more difficult for me to at least get accustomed of how I try to get into these types of YouTuber tributes, into these YouTubers. Because doing these 2 retro YouTuber tributes, and it's honestly weird when you take into consideration that the final YouTuber tribute that I ever did was actually a retro YouTuber tribute after almost a year, not to mention the fact that what I had left in to talk about these YouTubers, which shows that time has officially changed and my opinions on them are slightly changing. So, let's go talk about the 2 Loud House episode reviewers, Loud House Critic or Terwin, I can't spell his name right, and Steam Team WWK. Let me tell you, when I was getting into the Loud House, these were literally the only new YouTubers that I wanted to do a YouTuber tribute out of. And aside from Alpha J Show, which is mainly a last minute decision on doing a video of, I felt like that these types of YouTubers felt like the last ones I wanted to do before I get burned out. Because let me tell you, when I was making this video, I was still trying to watch The Loud House and I didn't have much knowledge of it. And when it came to these types of YouTubers, I can't usually take them seriously. Like Steam Team WWK, I might understand, but when it comes to Taewin, even if he may be on the bandwagon of hating the plots of Loud House episodes, I just can't be able to take anything seriously because of how much that the fandom is just gonna have a difficult time getting used to how the show is just getting less entertaining. And when it comes to the perspective of users who still watch these episodes even after the fan base has been shortened, has been cut down as of late, I really felt like that this was mostly me just trying to look at the good qualities while just whipping away the negative qualities. Because as far as I'm concerned, I had a difficult time on agreeing most of the opinions of these 2 YouTubers. And when it comes to the Alpha J Show, I really didn't know what to expect. Like, I really didn't know what to expect because it really felt like that I wanted to do a YouTuber tribute from him because he's actually a really good user, but believe me, I couldn't be able to make up my mind knowing full well that some of the videos from these people are a lot more difficult to enjoy, and the only way for me to give an understanding from them is just to listen to their opinion, but it's just not gonna work out on me on forming an opinion of them. When it came to the final YouTuber tribute, which is a retro YouTube tribute on the final day of April of last year, which is kind of ironic considering that in 2021 it was originally gonna end in the same month. I guess it really goes to show that April was basically the end of YouTuber tributes. Let me tell you, the reason why the last retro YouTuber tribute or YouTuber tribute is mainly off of someone who isn't on the internet that long is because I actually enjoyed his content and he was one of the first YouTubers that I've seen. And I will say that having him being the last YouTuber tribute that I did is honestly a good way to end off, even if you may not understand the meaning of what I was doing in this video. But as far as I'm concerned, this is literally the last time I ever did a YouTuber tribute since then. And for me personally, with so much going on at once, I can't be able to get into everything, all the while trying to get into the positives of people. Because let's get into the videos that were deleted. I did a YouTuber tribute of Misanthropony, who is known as Zaid Magenta, back during My Little Pony Month in 2019, only for me to delete it for what he did involving the cartoon-she situation last year. I deleted Star Giant Productions YouTuber tribute because of what he's been doing with so many people, along with how the mysterious Mr. Ento has been describing her in his video that he uploaded in October of 2021. And of course there was Sawtooth Waves, who I made a YouTuber tribute, but I really don't even know what to describe because he's still active, maybe by the time of this video's upload, but at the same time I just don't know what is really going on, which I could have regrets on deleting that video, but at the same time I just don't know because it's really becoming way more confusing. Like, my point is that I only delete these videos and remove them from the playlist is if they did something terrible, mainly of what Misanthropony did, what Star Giants Productions did, and what Sawtooth Waves did, even if I'm mostly confused. Like, the only thing I'm ever going to come back to this playlist is just by deleting videos, and the negative aspects from them that aren't as worse as the ones that I deleted, people have mixed opinions. Like, I'm gonna get to one of them. If you want more further proof onto why I have zero plans on doing YouTuber tributes, is because some people may have mixed opinions on what is really going on. Like here's a YouTuber who describes my opinion on my YouTuber tribute on TGX Game Reviews, or the Generation Extreme. This video did not age well. Has it been a year already? I dropped out since his Mega Man reviews. This is especially 9. Oh, hey, you're here too. That's a different YouTuber. Yes I am, and I'm afraid to say that I'm mostly likely canceling my potential third TGX rebuttal review. I haven't progressed much, and I've recently started focusing on another target, which have been revealed how much I dislike making rebuttal videos. Oh, that's cool. Nobody is holding a gun to your head. I hope you get whatever you're getting to get done and finished, and if it's a video, I'll watch. You see, his opinions on TGX is mainly of how he can't be able to, as well I just ignore the negatives of them. Like, it kind of sums up onto why it's difficult to make these types of YouTuber tributes when I just ignore the negative aspects while I just focus on the positives. Like, doing positive videos isn't really working out for me, and if you want more indication, just here's another comment that people have been discussing. Like, believe me when I say this, as much as I understand that over the last several months where I discuss about these videos, a lot has changed. Like, here's another comment on my YouTuber tributes Headhunter Productions. I don't know about you, but I think he's a hypocrite, a narcissist, and not good as a reviewer. I know how as he reviewed some media I happen to have a lot of knowledge on, he got a lot of details wrong and missed the point on certain things. Naturally, I would call him out on how he's wrong and how his other posts contradict the things he says. I would want to believe he's just playing a character like Doug Walker and James Wolfe, but upon my interactions with him and how he cried about my negative comments on him on Twitter, that's where I started to realize my benefit of doubt on him may be false. Oh yeah, he also indirectly called someone that had depression a nobody. So yeah, that's my 2 cents here. Whatever you want to keep supporting him or not is up to you, but be aware he's not nice as a creator and a person and very uncivilized to people different from him. At least from my experience. I used to be a fan, but after dealing with him firsthand, I long since unsubbed. You know, judging of how that it's difficult to get into these types of users and doing a YouTuber tribute off of them, I think it really sums up onto why I have zero plans on doing these types of YouTubers, because I understand that YouTubers aren't always perfect and they have negative aspects, like the comments I showed you, but thinking about it now and after responding to some of the people over the last several months, it really shows that I really had a difficult time just trying to find support towards other users on how they contribute in their YouTube channels. Because let me tell you, I'm not into the boring fandom like I was, and the reason why I did a YouTube tribute off of him is try to include My Little Pony / Brawling material even after Friendship is Magic came to an end, not to mention I'm preparing for Generation 5, which really shows that my videos towards Generation 5 just hasn't aged well, and it really just made me lose interest altogether. The thing is, I'm really having a difficult time on trying to get into these types of users and thinking about doing YouTuber tributes. Like, here's an indication onto what I was originally going to be doing for Summer Palooza 4. I was planning to do 10 or more YouTuber tributes, and I'm going to name a few. Loshi Player, who has a name change that I can't remember. Some call me Johnny. Being the Elite, which is the Elite faction from AEW. I was planning on... I'm trying to think of something, but I was planning on doing multiple YouTuber tributes during Summer Palooza 4 if I was going to do Summer Palooza 4. But after thinking about it, I really felt like that doing those YouTuber tributes, even if it were a waste of time, isn't going to be worth it, because, to be real with you, I really didn't enjoy those YouTuber tributes, and when it came to doing other videos for Summer Palooza 4, it was a lot more stressful, and believe me, I'm going to discuss those videos once I make my Summer Palooza 4 video involving Lonely Vibes. My point is that the videos I was originally gonna upload in the summer of last year, it just didn't feel worth it, and it was just me just trying everything to up my game after doing Summer Palooza 3, and at least trying to make YouTuber tributes somewhat active. But let me tell you, with me deleting videos, along with the fact that I've been really stressed out into doing YouTuber tributes because it just isn't that fun anymore, I guess it kind of shows onto why I completely moved on from YouTuber tributes and focus on what I'm doing right now. Like, in the beginning, it wasn't really good. Like, it could have been I would have scrapped it with something else, but at the same time, it was mostly me just trying to do different videos and just trying to show my support towards others, because back then, I was really trying to be the nicest people ever, even if it's not in the way of what people think of what nice people should do. But over time, over the next 3 years, it just hasn't been that good to me, and it was honestly becoming a lot more stressful to do these YouTuber tributes. Like, I really want to please everyone, but judging of how that there's an importance of not, but the fact that there's a difference of just trying to please little people rather than just overworking yourself or completely just focusing on other users while focusing on other things, I really need to scrap this idea completely because it just didn't work out for me anymore. The only way for me to get back to doing YouTuber tributes is if I'm actually in the positive mood, which I don't think it's ever going to work, or the fact that I'm just trying to please people by doing YouTuber tributes, because some users have been taking inspiration from these users and making YouTuber tributes of good people, but also the negatives of basically anti-YouTuber tributes or bad YouTubers or general on bad YouTubers, which I actually witness, and I can understand that they want to take inspiration from me since I actually did something in means of little tributes, but as far as I'm concerned, it didn't really make much of a difference. Like, if I'm gonna be really honest with you, it's impossible to doing these nowadays and trying to find other users that I'm into. Like, I've been watching other YouTubers that I haven't discussed yet, but also ones that I've already talked about, and from my knowledge of how people have been reacting to each other lately, and the fact that there isn't enough positivity to fix it, I really didn't know what to do with YouTuber tributes. Like, I may be regretting on deleting those videos for last year's summer, but at the same time, I really need to actually cool down and trying to focus on what's really good for me for my current schedule. Like, I don't have a planned schedule like making a Google Doc on what videos I want to do, but at the same time, it's literally better than just doing YouTuber tributes that just felt the least favorite of me doing over the last several years. So there you go. That was my experiences of doing YouTuber tributes. As much as I understand that it was difficult to get into everything, and the fact that it's been almost a year since I did YouTuber tributes, but believe me when I say this, I can't be able to keep these types of materials forever. Like, doing fanfic readings is somewhat workable because I'm still doing fanfiction right now, even if it's not much as I did last time, and it's worth noting that I still have passion towards it. But when it comes to YouTuber tributes, it's honestly mostly videos I did for showcasing my support, and mainly there just to fill in videos for my schedules, and judging them focusing on more bigger videos and more important projects. It's really not that big of a deal if I just scrap this. Like, I know some of you guys really want me to do more of these, but at the same time, I really didn't want to anymore, and the only way for me to get back into it is that if I'm actually back in the positive light, or it's around the time where I don't have anything else to work with, and I have no choice but to do YouTuber tributes, but I don't even think it's ever going to happen. So, with this Lonely Vibes out of the way, I'm just gonna point out that there could be another Lonely Vibes video for April or May, but at the same time, I have little to work with involving Lonely Vibes. Just keep this in mind. There is an ideals that I have on the top of my head that I want to do these types of videos, but keep in mind, it's gonna take time for me to make sure that these videos are gonna happen for real. Like, I'm planning on doing Summerpalooza and the Christmas videos that I did at the end of this year, and maybe the fanfic readings, but at the same time, we're just gonna see what's gonna happen next month. Like, there's a chance I'm gonna be skipping Lonely Vibes since I'm doing these videos minimum, but who knows. I'm Lonely Fanboy 4 here, and I'll see you guys next time.